Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Monday, March 25th, 2024, and tonight I'm being joined by fellow WrestleManiac, Josh.
Hey guys and gals, again, it is raw, it is uncooked and uncensored, and tonight we're going to talk about all the happenings in the world of WWE RAW.
Yes, there's so much to talk about in this episode. It was such a crazy episode, one of the best Raws to date.
I would agree. I mean, definitely started strong and ended strong, and I can't say even the middle was strong. I mean, really, honestly, it kind of kept going up. I mean, it was perfect. I mean, I can't say perfect Raw, but I will say it definitely had a lot of talking points tonight for sure.
I don't think it started as strong, but I'll get into that when we get into the opening of the show. Michael 101 says he wants me to talk about NXT tomorrow night. That's not going to happen. Best Raw of the year? I agree. Let's kick things off talking about the ending of Monday Night Raw, the ending that had everybody buzzing. We'll get into the main event later, but it's this ending. So at the end, after the match was over, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa were attacked by Cody and Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre attacked Seth freaking Rollins. But what happened was, they go backstage and The Rock shows up. He attacks Cody Rhodes. I mean, he savagely beat him. He busted him open. And I love the fact that it was raining. The rain just added to this.
Yes.
He was just kicking his ass. And, I don't know if you saw some pictures, but, this was literally one of the final images of Raw. Cody beaten down. They showed this one. I mean, this was great. Honestly, when they got to this spot, I thought The Rock was going to toss Cody Rhodes over.
Oh, yeah. I was getting that, sort of Rock throwing Austin over the bridge vibes way back in the day for the Intercontinental Championship. I was like, all right, let's do it. But, didn't happen. But, that's the start of something good. That's definitely the start of backstage brawls. I mean, again, we get a little bit of the tameness, but we don't get that sort of brutality as much anymore. And this was brutal.
This was great. This was holy smokes. I mean, just this image alone where The Rock is rubbing his hand on Cody's blood is holy smokes,
Oh, it was masterful. I mean, again, I dare say it gave me the vibes, especially Rock talking. It took me back to 1999. Honestly, with the Attitude Era, just a little bit of, the empty arena match versus him and Mankind, only because, again, he hit the man in the face twice with the trash can. That you don't see anymore. You don't see hits in the head. Now, granted, I'm sure it was safe and all that, but still, you don't see that as often anymore. And the rain, it literally was like a movie almost. It was perfect.
Michael says, well, The Rock tossed Stone Cold over a bridge, right? Exactly. I was expecting that to happen here. This was interesting. In this spot, you could see John Cena and Stone Cold in that production on their pictures on that production truck. Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing. Who knows?
That's true. I didn't think.
But even this spot, when you said how he was whacking him with a trash can, I was just like, The Rock is opening a can of whoop ass here.
This is a Rock we have not seen. I have not seen this Rock battle in the backstage. Think about it versus Cena versus anybody. We have not seen this Rock in so long. Probably, I mean, again, I may be wrong, but I dare say we have not seen this Rock since 04 Rock, maybe 03 Rock. So, I mean, this is a total return back to what the Rock should be.
I really like the fact that he took Cody's blood and he wiped it on that weight belt, and he was like, Mama Rhodes. I was like, damn, he went there.
I was waiting for the "You're welcome" line. I was still waiting for "What can I say except you're welcome." I didn't get it, but maybe WrestleMania will get that, hopefully.
Honestly, I feel like Roman Reigns has taken a back seat to this, and I feel like now the main story is Cody Rhodes versus The Rock instead of Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns.
To me, and again, I mean, look, the inclusion of Rollins is fine, But honestly, I would have much rather, thinking about it, the way they're booking this now, it would have been better rather to have Cody versus Rock night 1, for whoever wins gets to face Roman night 2. Because then it makes sense about their story. Because really Rollins was, I don't want to say an afterthought, but again, they had to highlight him versus Drew McIntyre. So really it's they kind of muddied the waters a little bit, where really this is what it should have been. Cody versus Rock. Who's going to fight Roman on the next night? So it definitely gives the vibes that it should have been this entire time.
You know something? Like, CM Punk getting injured was a blessing in disguise, because I don't think CM Punk would have been happy to once again lose a main event spot to The Rock, because the tag team match is definitely main eventing night 1.
Exactly.
When originally it was supposed to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins.
Well, let's thank Drew McIntyre for his prayers on that one, because it is a blessing in disguise. Because again, I think Punk said it best 10 years ago. Rock took my spot in the main event. And so that was kind of a way of foreshadowing that he's going to be overshadowed. And the whole entire takeover of TKO, this pretty much, I always laugh about The Rock being now the TKO owner. This is what Vince wanted to be the entire time, be this real buff, huge guy. Like real athlete, right? So I love that they're incorporating that part of the story, because it makes sense. It's the evil boss all over again, but a different twist to it.
Yeah, this was great. This was arguably the best way they could have closed Monday Night Raw. And this wasn't even the go-home show. We still have to get through next week.
That's the question. Is Cody Rhodes going to get his comeuppance? Because we always talk about, it seems like the heel usually has the last final thing before the go-home show, it seems like. So I'll be curious to see what happens next week. Is Cody going to have something? This is the important part. What is Cody's response going to be getting his ass kicked? Because if it's that simple, I respect you, Rock thing, it's going to ruin it. So I hope that we get something, a big brawl in Brooklyn to end the show. Hopefully something.
But you know something, though? It's kind of like, it begs the question, where was Jey? Where was Rollins? I know, granted, Rollins got taken out by Drew McIntyre, but where the hell was Jey? Jey didn't get attacked. He was, the last we saw of Jey, he was just chilling in that ring.
The only thing I can think is maybe he was going after Jimmy and maybe Solo. Again, I did think it was weird they didn't highlight, like, where's Jey at? But the thing is, they probably... really, I'd rather that they had not mentioned it, only because it would have taken away from the segment if we had seen Rock and Cody, and then all of a sudden we go to Jey getting beat up by them too. It'd have been fine, but I think they wanted to focus solely on Rock and Cody, which was great.
And it was the right choice.
Yes, it was.
This felt so refreshing for the show. Yes, it definitely did. I was not expecting this. When the main event ended early, I was like, something's up, because there's no way they're going to end Raw with 7 minutes to spare, and they did not disappoint.
Right. It wasn't the tried and true thing of, Solo and Jimmy coming out, and then Cody comes out to save, and then Drew comes out, and then Seth comes out. It was definitely a welcome, refreshing change for sure.
It definitely was. All right, now let's talk about the CM Punk promo. CM Punk coming back to Raw in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois. I don't know if you saw, but prior to Raw, Drew McIntyre showed up to Mindy's Bakery.
Yes.
On the day that they're closed, wearing a CM Punk shirt with the words CM Punk spray painted on it. I was like, he is a menace.
He definitely has changed his character, and I'm loving it, because it's the troll Drew McIntyre. He really is trolling everybody. And yeah, we'll keep on going on to the promo that Punk had. Go ahead.
So, he brings up about how he's not medically cleared, which, is unfortunate, because I think so many people wanted him to be the special guest referee for this.
Right.
He mentions his wife, April, AJ. And he also brings up how, there might be a title match that needs an impartial referee, but he's like, I can't be impartial with these two. It's so funny.
It made me think of kind of I know they didn't do it, but it reminded me of he could have almost played the Austin role when Kane and Undertaker fought. I think it was a Judgment Day 98 where he hated both of them. So it would have almost been a good story. But again, I get that, he's injured and can't really do it.
I like the fact that he brings up what Roman Reigns said on Pat McAfee's podcast. I love the fact that he brings up that The Rock hasn't said anything about him because according to Punk, he liked to think that it's because of their encounter 10 years ago, you know?
Oh, that callback to the boxing with God thing was so good because
Yeah.
I literally just watched it like a couple months ago just because it was on YouTube, and I was like, wow, he brought that back, which I love that they're referencing past history because before it would be like, it didn't exist. So this is great.
Yeah, yeah. And then he brings up Drew McIntyre, and then like Drew McIntyre comes out, and like CM Punk orders his music to like get turned off, and then like
Turn that
Drew's
crap off.
refusing to go inside of the ring. And I like the fact that made a reference to the last time that they were in the ring together. And like I like the fact that Punk was like he never had to put another man's shirt on his another man's name on his shirt to sell it, because Drew has that
Yeah.
he even turned around and said injured CM Punk, and then he ripped it off and it had the other shirt.
I love that, and I love that Drew really just you could tell they're just kind of winging it out there because he was like, "Yeah, cameraman, don't shoot up my skirt, you perv," and Punk was like, "What?"
Yeah.
It was so off color, which was great.
Michael says this segment was so good. It was better than Cody's opening segment. We'll get to that one in a bit.
We'll get there.
But I was like, holy smokes, like he literally sat crisscross applesauce on the announce table. I was like, oh my God.
It was wonderful. And I mean, Drew is solid. I mean, the man is solid. He has been solid gold the last couple of weeks because really, I mean, look, this man has kept up 2 feuds just in his promos. Hasn't wrestled really, as far as I know, the last couple of weeks, besides Sami like 2 or 3 times a couple of weeks ago. But he's kept 2 feuds alive, all with just his promo, where Seth was busy with The Rock and Punk is injured. The man's got it all. I mean, the man is definitely showing he wants that championship, which I love because, I mean, I always thought he had the potential.
Michael says he laughed when McIntyre called Cole or fan a pervert when he said don't look up and kill. Yeah, that was funny. I really like the fact that Drew McIntyre brings up the fact that he's chosen one, and then like CM Punk tells him to say who gave him that, who made him that chosen one, and he did not say Vince McMahon's name at all here.
Somebody had a pretty good quip. Somebody said what he should have said, what Drew should have said, and the response was "No chance in hell, Punk." And I thought that'd have been pretty good. I would have liked that. That'd have been good. But it is what it is. Missed opportunity.
Yeah. You know what was another missed opportunity? Do you remember 2 years ago when Kevin Owens was like feuding with Texas?
Mm-hmm.
And he trolled Texas by coming out as Stone Cold, and he came out to the music.
Oh, that'd have been wonderful.
They totally missed the opportunity to have Drew McIntyre come out as CM Punk.
Oh, man, I didn't think about that. That'd have been perfect, especially the Big Poppy would have gotten, man.
The booze he would have gotten afterwards.
For sure. Well, I love how Seth Rollins came out, and my favorite thing was Punk just going. Couldn't get his promo out, which that was a great piece of business. Just in those 2-3 seconds. It's like, man, trying to talk to my hometown crowd. Everybody keeps interrupting me.
Yeah, like when Rollins came out, I really like that he had that stare down with like a CM Punk because it just shows their feud isn't over.
And I love the fact that, I mean, it's crazy. Rollins was kind of demure in his attire. It wasn't this real nice, colorful thing. It was really kind of it was still a little crazy, but it just, I don't know, it evoked more serious. It's like, this is a serious Seth Rollins now we're dealing with. We're not dealing with the dancing, joking, laughing one. This was serious one. So I like that too.
I like that when after Punk cost him dipshits, and McIntyre's like, PG, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that. Well, and he even referenced, I think, we're not on Netflix yet, which, I mean, again, I'm still curious that there's little hints there, especially them starting to cuss a lot more. There's something there. It can't just be just Rock is the only one cussing now.
Oh, yeah. But basically at the very end, like CM Punk, as he's leaving, his music plays. Drew McIntyre was like, no, I'm not going to let him get that last word. And he quotes Eminem's Stan. And then like Rollins kicks him and gets a stomp. So I thought this was a fantastic segment promo. If it wasn't for that beatdown, this would totally be my favorite segment of the entire night. This was fucking great. We need more of this.
For sure. Well, especially because, again, we've seen McIntyre talking, really not get much comeuppance besides, I'm not going to fight you. You're not going to make me mad. And finally, we have the visual of Rollins taking McIntyre seriously by attacking him. Again, I was expecting the opposite, but I definitely love that they had this. Because, I mean, it's hard. Here's an injured Punk that really can't do anything besides just talk. And again, for him to say, I'll be a guest commentator. And they really did a good job of McIntyre saying, I want you to commentate so you can say, and you're new world champion. You know, again, I love that aspect. He wants him to be able to announce his win and taking his moment away. So that was great.
I really like the fact that Punk was like counting because he was like, see, I could be the referee. I thought that was great.
Oh, and lay down on his back too. He's like, you have a weapon in there. I ain't got nothing, brother. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so good. I mean, it's so good that they are finally getting this story out, because for a while, again, Rollins was so busy with the bloodline that really you kind of missed out on the other little meta stories.
Yeah, I agree.
It made me more excited for the match, especially.
It definitely did. I'm really excited. All right. So Monday Night Raw kicked off with Cody Rhodes doing a promo. I feel like, honestly, this is the run-of-the-mill Cody Rhodes promo. There was nothing special or unique about this. Mm-hmm. The Rock surprised everybody by coming out there because nobody was expecting him. He wasn't advertised for tonight's show. He's advertised for the go-home show next week in Brooklyn, but he's not advertised for this. And really nothing happened. He just whispered something, which I think was, he said, I'm going to make you bleed. And then I just like the stare down, but aside from that, nothing really happened. This was kind of a weak opening, if you ask me.
I really didn't understand the idea of Rock kind of whispering something in his ear, really talking. And really, it wasn't like you had a visual of Cody's face and here's Rock here talking. It was more of, I didn't get it because I thought maybe he's cussing, maybe he's saying something. It kind of took me back to, if you remember when Jericho re-debuted and he didn't say anything, he just kind of smiled and people got tired of him not saying anything. I kind of get that vibe from it. But again, I would have rather him just had done something else besides go up, talk to him, and then walk off, because nobody knew what they said. And that's the thing, is Cody seemed concerned, but whenever asked about it, he's like, well, I'm not going to talk about it. So yeah. I thought that was kind of weak.
Michael said Sally's not attending the show next week in Brooklyn. Hey, Joe. I was bored by the opening. Rock whispered maybe. Funny. Yeah, this was a complete weak opening. The ending definitely made up for it, I will say.
Yes. I mean, it had to. I mean, because again, Cody's promo is just, he talks up there in diatribes and, uses big words that most of the audience don't understand. The word succubus, which, again, I don't know. His promos are starting to sound samey. And again, I beg to wonder if he does finish the story, right? Okay, well, what's the next story? And what is his promo going to be like that next night?
He needs to finish that story. I'm really getting tired of Roman Reigns. We'll talk more about that during predictions.
Yes.
So after this, The Rock gets interviewed, and he's basically asked what he told Cody Rhodes. And he basically says to ask Cody Rhodes and then kind of just walks away.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a throwaway segment. It should have been something like, I'm the final boss. You don't ask me those kind of questions. You talk to my assistant, and then my assistant will get back to my assistant. I mean, it could have been a more Rocky type of, answer than just you ask Cody Rhodes.
Exactly. So you get a quick Judgment Day segment, and they're basically they're just talking about how they have a plan for WrestleMania, and they want JD to take care of Ricochet, and Rhea basically just says that
do something.
The next time Dom has some unfinished business to let her know. Daniel says, I didn't like tonight's Raw. I should have watched one of the Scream movies and then Raw. Really? You didn't like tonight's Raw? Okay. Hey, to each their own, though.
I like the contrarianness. It's good. I mean, the thing is with two, if you notice when he walked off JD and Dom, Rhea's like, just do something, win something. So I'm starting to wonder about the seeds a little bit about, again, I don't think JD's going to be kicked out next week, but they're starting to notice that JD is not being able to, keep up with it.
Yeah. Let's see. Cody's story, chapter 622,218.
A never-ending story, but not as good.
We get Ricochet versus JD McDonagh. This was a really great match. I think I'm really liking that they're starting to showcase Ricochet more. He's winning more. This is really good. I will say that Spanish Fly to Brainbuster that JD did to Ricochet was incredible.
You know what I love too, and I'm going to go back a little bit, just a tinge. I get to notate, when Ricochet had a match, I think it was last week on Raw even, that they mentioned his former gimmick of, Puma, right? And I really thought that was interesting that, now we're getting that sort of freedom. And this match was, I don't want to say it was a banger, but man, it was good. It was a lot better than I expected. It wasn't your run of the mill. Okay, they're gonna do the little fly moves. It was perfect. I mean, it really was a good match. I was very pleasantly surprised.
Daniel says, I thought it was boring, but that's my opinion. Yeah, that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. It's okay if you thought tonight's show was boring. Ricochet was incredible in this match. I agree. The only thing I liked was Becky punching Dirty Dom. We'll get to that right now.
Yeah.
But I despite the fact that Dom was out there, I kind of thought, I was like, oh great, there, JD's gonna win because of Dominic. But no, he got ejected, and that wasn't the case. Ricochet won, and he looked good out there.
But I love the fact that he's on the apron and still was able to knock Ricochet off or he's not knocking, but crotch him essentially, just jumping down. Well, what? I was just getting down. So I mean, I thought that was a real nice, subtle little way of still getting the mission accomplished. I mean, granted, it really didn't work out for him, but I don't know. It's those little subtleties that really make a difference, though.
I agree. We had Ivy Nile versus Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae won after she got her foot on the ropes. This is more of Candice LeRae turning heel, and Indy Hartwell kind of just looking at her like, what the heck?
I hate to say it. I mean, because again, I like the story of the tag team partner acting more heelish and trying to buy time, but I feel like they just stayed on Indy forever at the end. It's like, okay, just do something, either go or don't go. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that may just be me, but I didn't really like this match. I thought this was more I hate to say bathroom break, but I definitely don't think I missed much on this one.
Story-wise, I liked it. I liked the Candice LeRae, but the match itself was okay.
I just keep thinking this Candice LeRae character is supposed to be a very good wrestler, very, good stories. And again, granted, I mean, I just have not seen that. I've not seen that from Candice LeRae in WWE yet. A great match with saying, oh, I could go to this match and say this is where Candice LeRae really shines. So maybe not a fault of her own, but still, I don't know. I'm not moved by Candice LeRae like I think I should be. Let's put it that way.
They teased Indy probably attacking Ivy Nile. I have a feeling Candice LeRae will turn on Indy. Okay, maybe. I guess we had to wait and see where this goes.
I hope so.
So we get like an awesome shoot segment backstage because like DIY and New Day are having like some friendly banter, and awesome Truth says it's gonna be the New Day versus DX, and then he calls Pat McAfee JBL because he's gonna be doing commentary.
Right. I'm for R-Truth, but I don't know. The DX thing's just not hitting for me like I expected. The JBL thing was great, right? But I don't know. The DX thing just, I don't know why. It just is not as funny to me as I expected it to be. But that's, everybody's Truth is a character all his own, so some things hit, some things don't. But great segment, though, of course.
It says, I enjoyed Candice in the Indies, and of course they did more with her in Gargano and NXT. They did.
Yes.
Candice LeRae action figures have been shelf warming at Walmart for 2 years straight. Damn.
Oh, sad.
Right. So we had the New Day versus DIY. This was, as it was happening, was a good match, but then it ended in DQ because Judgment Day attacked. Now, I really like the fact that R-Truth was on commentary.
Yep.
And the Miz went in there to try to help, DIY and New Day, and R-Truth is still on commentary. He's still commenting. And then when the Judgment Day goes to him, he orders to go to commercial. He's like, go to commercial.
That was so good. I mean, the man, I can understand now why he and Tozawa have jobs probably forever in WWE. I still think it's weird that they act like he's been there for 25 years because he hasn't. He's been, they never even reference his TNA run, which is funny. But no, he basically made this match really good. I mean, Truth is gold. The man is a national treasure. I still think he should be the one challenging Gunther for the IC title, but I can understand you don't want to have Gunther run into a comedy character maybe just yet. So I kind of get that too.
R-Truth is hilarious, and they bring up the fact that he hasn't won at WrestleMania. R-Truth is awesome. Truth is definitely winning at WrestleMania. They're winning those tag titles,
which would be great. I mean, again, do I think R-Truth or am I into the Awesome Truth? Not so much, but again, I mean, I'm glad Truth gets his moment because he's been needing it for a while.
Yeah, same. So we get a Cody Rhodes interview, and basically he talks about how he can't repeat what The Rock said, and it's a promise The Rock can't keep. Short, sweet, and to the point.
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand if it was something like, I don't know. Knowing what we know now at the end of the show, would it have hurt if he was going to say, Rock said he's going to hurt me so bad that I'm not going to be able to recover from it? Something, some hint or some sort of something. But for him to say, oh, Rock said something I can't repeat. Well, now we never know what it's going to be. Somebody will figure it out, of course, as always the internet does. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of a weak promo, I thought, from him.
Yeah, it was kind of a weak one too. I agree. Gunther was also interviewed backstage, and he basically says that deep down, Sami Zayn knows he can't beat him. He doesn't think Sami can beat Bronson Reed tonight. So it's like Gunther's just instilling self-doubt on poor Sami Zayn here.
I love Gunther's promos because, you know, I mean, going from what he used to be to now, he's like a guilty pleasure for me on Raw. Not just because of his wrestling, but just his facial expressions are just so good because, I mean, he plays this great cocky heel and he backs it up. You don't see that very often. Now, Rock maybe and Roman Reigns, but he plays it off like it's almost comical that anybody's going to step up to him. And when he does lose, it's going to make it mean that much more.
Yeah, it definitely will. I don't know what Chad Gable's role in all of this is, but we'll get to it when that segment happens.
My hope is he runs into Imperium, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. Next, we get Andrade El Idolo versus versus Giovanni Vinci. This was a good match. Great showcase of Andrade that they're doing. I really like the way that they're presenting Andrade and stuff like that. I think they've done a good job so far.
Right.
This was a good match, and I'm so happy he won. I think his new finisher, the Message, I believe it's what's it called.
Yeah, the only things I hate to say, I mean, it was a pretty good match, but the two things I had worried about a little bit is when Giovanni Vinci did that crossbody. I thought, ooh, that looked like it wasn't planned, but it looked like he kind of caught him like pretty hard way. And then the ending where I thought Elo was going for a kick, but then suddenly like fell into an elbow. I was like, oh no, it's going off the rails. End it quickly. So I mean, it was good, but Andrade is still. Admittedly, I kind of missed him in NXT, but I still just have not for both shows, AEW and WWE. I don't know. I want to care about him, but who is he besides the bigger brother of Santos Escobar? Not that he is, but that's what it seems like. He's the more buff version of Santos. Santos has more character.
I've always liked Andrade. Always. And I really liked his original presentation with Zelina Vega. I don't know why they ever split him up in the first place.
I agree. I mean, again, at NXT, I believe it, he did better in NXT, but just for me, I don't know. Again, that was like that gap where I missed NXT, and I'm like, well, who is this? But then by the time he was there, he was gone. So I missed part of it, but that happens.
Michael says, I think The Rock is turning on Roman at Mania. I could see that, but I could also see it being the other way. I could also see Roman be the one to turn on The Rock.
Right.
But if they're gonna want Roman to be babyface after all these years, you're gonna have The Rock turn on Roman Reigns.
Right. I'm still curious how they're gonna get there because again, they can do it, but again, will it be on night one? Will it be on night two? That's the big question, right? Because I mean, Rock could turn on him on night one and say, "Oh no, I just wanted you to prove that the bloodline." You don't need us. You don't need them. You got this, cousin. You got this. But I don't know. If it happens, it's great. But again, if you want Roman babyface, I don't know if Rock's going to be as hated as they're going to want him to be hated because he is the Rock.
Night two. Yeah, I think The Rock turns on Roman, or Roman turns on The Rock on night two. That's for sure.
It'll just be interesting because again, his reactions are so varied. Like he'll get booed in some places, and in Memphis, of course, he got cheered. So. We almost got another Cena issue again, almost.
Yeah. All right. We get a Rhea Ripley promo. And she's basically talking about Becky, how Becky's not giving her full attention. And when Becky comes out, I do like the fact that Becky brings up the fact that Rhea doesn't wrestle on Raw that much anymore. And it's true. Like, Rhea really doesn't wrestle a lot on Raw.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I like the fact that Rhea Ripley brings up the fact that she can post a photo or video online to get people's attention, like when she did the stink face this past weekend to Nia Jax that went viral. Viral. Yeah, Io says best episode of Raw in months. I agree, but I felt like I mean, if you go back and you watch the whole CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins segment and you compare this to Rhea and Becky, I feel like this was missing something. This was missing the heat.
Oh, for sure. Because again, it was very just. I'm not getting the fire from Becky Lynch anymore. I'm really not. She says that she wants that. She says that she wants the title, but Becky 2 years ago, you could see the fire intensity. She would have, tried to attack her, but to punch Dom and then they start brawling, I agree. It just wasn't. I don't know. I mean, again, I best you said it best. Something is missing, and there's a fire that's not there. It's almost like either Becky's going to win, everybody's going to be mad, or Ray is going to. I don't know. It just again, it does not feel like a WrestleMania build-up for sure.
She called her a cockroach, and I was like, "Really, a cockroach? Like, really?" I did like the fact that she did bring up Rue, and she said that she wants Becky to sit next to her daughter and listen to her call Rhea mommy. I was like, okay, see, that's what was missing.
Yes, and she should have attacked Rhea right then and there. Shouldn't even been. I think they stayed too long on her face doing that whole, that thing. I was like, no, man. If somebody talks about my kid, I'm not gonna be sitting there stewing. I'm gonna be like, you know what? But as soon as she should have mentioned her name, it should have been, you're gonna see Rue call me mom, and it should have been a punch to the face right then and there. And then you could have had Dom pull her off, and then she should have punched Dom, and Rhea left, and it could have changed it a little bit.
Michael says Rhea did distinct face better than Nia Jax. Io says, I think Rock whispered to Cody earlier, I'm going to make you bleed. I think that's what the consensus is. Rhea had more fire than Dom being punched. Becky Balboa and NXT's by Cockroach. Because I don't watch NXT. So, I did like the brawl. That ensued. I did like the Becky attacking Dom 3 times. But the overall promo, I was not a huge fan of.
Again, as soon as she said, you're going to have Rue call me mom, as soon as she said mom, it should have been punched to the face.
Yeah, she should have stopped her for that.
Yeah, you should have seen her sock her, and then you should have seen, again, Dom pull her off, and then Becky turn around and go, bam, and then you could have had the same segment, but a little bit more fire, because now you done brought in Rhea's kid, or not Rhea's kid, Becky's kid.
Yeah.
Those fighting birds.
The bra by itself was great. The promo, a little weak.
Yeah.
So, Chad Gable and Sami Zayn are backstage, and basically Chad Gable is telling Sami to get his head out of his ass, and this is before his match with Bronson Reed. Io says these two weren't meant to have a good promo battle. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So this leads into Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed, and I thought this was a pretty decent match, but Sami Zayn allowed Gunther to get in his head when Gunther went out there to watch this match, and this actually cost Sami Zayn the match. He did the senton and then the tsunami, and it was pretty much over for Sami.
My hope, and I think, Michael, you said it best here on your comment, Chad Gable looks like he might be turning heel. I hope so, because, the Academy has been played out as much as it can be. And really, you know what? As crazy as it seems, why not have Chad Gable join Imperium? If they're not going anywhere and Gunther's going to be around for a while, maybe make it to where, I decided to stay with Gunther because better to fight my best enemy possible or something like that. Because, again, I like the story of Chad's moment being stolen. Seems like that's what WrestleMania is this year. Everybody's stolen WrestleMania moments from 2 or 3 different, things, right? But, no, I agree. I think the seeds are being planted for a Chad Gable heel turn. Hopefully at WrestleMania is what I'm hoping.
He does say backstage that that's what Gunther does, plants the seeds of doubt, and that it's all mental with him. Mm-hmm. And that if he wants to win, he needs to take a different approach. Io says, we know Sami wasn't winning at Mania tonight, just confirmed losing to Bronson. Yeah, that's so true. I mentioned this. I feel like the reason why it was Sami Zayn and not Chad Gable was because I feel like maybe Gunther's going to retain at WrestleMania. He'll probably retain, and it's easier. He should probably just beat Sami than to beat Chad Gable again.
I agree. And I really think that, going back to the point of Chad Gable talking about he gets in your head. I think that's a telegraph of saying Gunther got in my head, and now I don't know. Again, my hope is he just ends up, joining forces with Gunther because it'd be a shock. And really, you're telegraphing already that Gunther gets in your head. It's a mental game. And again, it's been weeks. It's not like just 1 week. Hey, you beat me. Good job. And we're done. It's been like, hey, Sami, you really need to get it together. So I don't know. I'm liking where it's going so far.
Same. I can't wait. We get a very quick Jey Uso promo where Solo Sikoa and Jimmy appear, and basically, like, Seth Rollins backstage tells Jey that something doesn't feel right and that Cody him got his back and he should get that W. Let's see. After the match ended, they should have canceled the match with Sami and Gunther or take Sami out and slide Gable in to get his WrestleMania moment. Well, I do agree. I still think that why they didn't do that is because I think that Gunther is going to retain at WrestleMania. It makes the most sense why they didn't put Chad Gable in that match in the first place.
The pop in Berlin is going to be so huge for him. It's going to, even though he's Austrian, it's going to be massive. They've got to keep it on him. I mean, again, unless they haven't won it again, but unless he wins the world title there, I mean, Gunther's got to go into that show as IC champion and really retain, unless they really want to make a heel and somehow turn Gunther face, which I don't think they're going to do.
We'll see. We'll see as we get closer to Bash in Berlin.
But as for the promo with Jey, to me, look, I get that the brand split is a thing, right? But I mean, to have Jimmy and Solo show up again and Adam Pearce be like, get out of here, I don't know. It just ruins it for me. It really does. I miss the old brand split when nobody would show up, and if they did, it was a shock.
Yeah. That's because Adam Pearce doesn't have control of his show, unlike Nick Aldis. Exactly. I'm happy Drew's getting more over on the mic besides his skills. Yeah. So the main event ended up being Jey Uso versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This was an okay match. You know, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins also come out because Solo and Jimmy come out. I mean, it's Nakamura's main event, but he's losing. You know, he's not doing much here.
The sad thing about Shinsuke is I love as a guilty pleasure his promos in Japanese. It is one of the best things on Raw. When I see it, he does that whole little like eye thing that he does, you know. But every time he does it, he loses. It's like, good Lord, just send him to NXT. Send him somewhere else because the man's got talent. And I mean, look at how they treat him in NJPW with Muda last year. He was a star. And for whatever reason, I don't know why they use him as fodder. He should have a WrestleMania match. Now, I don't know who against, but you're missing something here with Nakamura, especially sacrificing him to Rollins. And then to everybody else, it just, I hate that they're devaluing him. I really do.
Io says Adam Pearce be sipping. Yeah, he does. Exactly. Like Nakamura, his character is good, but he's just losing a lot.
Maybe it's the WWE thing of losing streak and then suddenly he'll become like Money in the Bank or world champion. I hope so because he deserves it. Definitely deserves it.
So I forgot to show this earlier, but like during the Awesome Truth segment, you could see like Drew McIntyre talking to Paul Heyman, which we probably know what he was talking about now. It's the fact that like he attacked Seth Rollins. So
well, Heyman knows Punk too.
Yeah, that's exactly
right. Into his head very well, know Punk and know everybody. So I mean, and again, look, they always talked about, well, Drew, you know, you're really mad at the Bloodline, but you don't mind getting their help, and now it's going to be like, weren't you just talking to Paul Heyman last week? And I love that they referenced that. So Seth probably will bring that up next week.
Exactly. All right, that is going to be the end of the show because we've already talked about the main event. And we already talked about what happens after the main event. All right, so on a scale from a 1 to a Shawn Spears perfect 10, what would you rate tonight's show?
I got to call out one more thing in the main event we did forget, though. The Hard Times promo and bringing up Dusty. I thought was so good. You don't know Hard Times, boy. You're going to find out that Ross going to learn you about Hard Times. I thought such a great line. So I have to throw that in there. You know, this show, I would say an 8. I thought it was a great show. I mean, this finally felt like now we're finally on the road to WrestleMania. Now the build begins. 2 weeks before the show starts, mind you. But this is what I think we finally got the story set.
I also says it me or Seth is like the third person in both his matches. Yeah, he kind of does feel like that.
Yeah.
9 out of 10. Good show, more Raws like tonight. I have to say, what stopped this from being a Shawn Spears perfect 10, at least in my opinion. Again, this is just totally my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with me. The opening segment with Cody Rhodes, that was a little weak. I'm sorry. That was really weak. I did not like that.
Very.
The women's match was a little short in my opinion. It was decent. It's not their fault though. It's not their fault. It's always down to creative. I felt like there was too many segments backstage. The women's match, thumbs down woman. Yeah, and it was really short too. Yeah, I agree with the Cody segment, the women's match. Yeah, a more enjoyable Raw episode in a long time. How are they going to top next week? They're going to have to do a lot to top this. And I also was not a fan of the Rhea Ripley Becky Lynch promo. I liked the Brawl, but I wasn't a fan of that. So for me, it's a 9 out of 10 for that. If it wasn't for those things, it would have been a solid 10. So 9 out of 10. And this wasn't even the go home show. So next week, they're going to have to pull out all the big guns in order to top this show.
Oh, for sure. I mean, again, the ending segment was probably the thing I think will be most remembered for this Raw, really. That's going to be the moment that we look back at WrestleMania. It's like, hey, remember when The Rock beat Cody Rhodes to a pulp? Again, I kind of wish there was a little bit more brutality, maybe busting him to a glass or something. But, again, that's neither here nor there. But no, definitely a great show. And I definitely hope that Brooklyn's going to be even hotter than tonight was. Because Chicago's a really hot town. But Brooklyn's going to be fire, hopefully, for everything next week.
I wanted The Rock to toss Cody over.
Yes, something to the effect where now we don't know what's going to happen with Cody Rhodes. And it gives Cody Rhodes a story of, I don't know, he got beat up. What are we going to do?
So Cody Rhodes should toss The Rock over then next week in Brooklyn off the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes. That'd be great.
Brooklyn will bring it next week. We are a smart crowd. If Mania was this weekend, this boosted it. Exactly. Philly will be a hot crowd as well. They are smarts as well. Yes, they are.
Agreed. Totally
All
agree.
right. So you have any last comments or remarks as we get ready to wrap up?
I'm hoping that Raw keeps on cooking and keeps being uncensored and uncut. That's what I'm really hoping we get next week. We get the final go home show. And to me, as I said, the last Raws have not been that great. And this is a start. I hope the momentum continues. That's what I'm hoping.
Same here. I'm hoping that this was such a great show. Rock could toss Cody into the East River. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. As far as the rest of the week is concerned, I will only be reviewing AEW Dynamite. I will not be reviewing Monday Night Raw. I will not be reviewing Friday Night SmackDown because I will be going to Anaheim to cover WonderCon for A+ Hero Report. So no Friday Night SmackDown review. As far as next week is concerned, next week is WrestleMania week. So we got a lot of cool things planned. We have 7 simulcasts planned for next week. We have Raw Go Home Show to Mania, SmackDown Go Home Show to Mania. We have NXT Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, Raw after Mania, SmackDown after Mania. Plan for simulcast between Rangers of Wrestling and A+ Hero Report. As far as NXT is concerned, that will not be a simulcast. NXT review will be exclusively on A+ Hero Report for the Go Home Show to Stand and Deliver and NXT after Stand and Deliver, as Josh here takes the mantle as host and I will be his co-host. So that's all for next week. But for right now, thank you guys so much. I will see you guys Wednesday after AEW Dynamite. Bye.
See you later.